Hi again, fellow unlicensed thinkers. The meek shall inherit the earth. And this is interpreted in a couple of different ways. It used to be common to interpret it to think that the weak shall inherit the earth. But that's not really correct. That's not what was meant by the statement, and it's not true. Because the strong will inherit the earth, but the strong who are meek will inherit the earth. So meek meaning not abusing your power or using your power to that you have, whatever it may be, to manipulate people. And this is usually thought of in terms of the masculine or men and our ability for violence or to use strength. And for us to not do that, to not run around stabbing everybody and beating everybody up is considered meek. We have the ability to do that. We choose not to do that. Therefore, we are being meek. And meek can come in other forms, just like strength can come in other forms. For example, rich people. A rich person being meek isn't out driving around in a Lamborghini and manipulating people to do things for them by using money. They find other methods to do that. They may hide their wealth and such. Smart people. Smart people being meek means not being a pretentious dick and just, using words like you may know the entire dictionary. Wonderful. Good for you. When you're communicating with other people who may not be at that level, or just because you simply want to have a connection with them and help them understand what it is that you're talking about, then you tone it down a little bit and you speak in common language so that you're not intimidating people. Because what do all these things have in common is they cause some kind of a hormonal reaction. And it causes people to be afraid, to be envious, to be whatever. And so you're manipulating based on this hormonal reaction or this limbic system reaction. And so just like it's not right for a man to go around using that masculine power that we're born with, that we're gifted with, and punching and intimidating people and pushing them around, because that lacks honor. It doesn't have a respect associated with it. It has a fear associated with it. And so what it does is when some guy's going around and he's pushing people around and he's just being, showing off his, masculinity, although masculinity is not toxic. Toxic assholes are toxic. Let's be very clear about that. But he's showing that particular side of masculinity, which is that power and that ability for ferocity in that fashion. What he's doing is he's creating a hormonal reaction of, like, say, cortisol, and he's activating the limbic system of these other people. And he's causing them to change their thinking and behavior. So that would not be meek, just like the rich person going around and throwing his money around. He is not being meek. He is changing the way someone thinks and behaves based on this desire for the money. And so neither one of those are okay. Those are ways of intimidating and manipulating people. And so, of course, in Western cultures, we have laws against people going around and punching each other because that's probably good. I like to think that even if there were no laws about that I would not do that, because I wouldn't want to be punched, so I wouldn't want to punch another person. I wouldn't want to manipulate and intimidate them in that way. I wouldn't want to force a change in their hormones or their normal reactions. So I want them to be them, and I want to communicate with them at their level and them to communicate with me. And so a lot of countries have laws against women using their main feminine power. And you'll find that in countries where they force women to cover up by law. And just like wherein there is a law against going and punching people, if you're only doing it because you're following the law, you're not being meek. So the same thing in countries where they force women to hide what is their feminine, their large and main feminine power, which is this sexuality. And that is a way that we all know that women can control people. Let's be absolutely honest about that. But in countries like that, they're not actually making women meek. What they're doing is they're not giving women a choice. So much like the laws in the Western countries where men can't go around punching people. It's if the only reason you do it is because of that law, you're not being meek. You're just following the law. You're sort of being forced to do it. Now, in Western cultures, women are not only allowed to manipulate with their power, they're in fact encouraged to do it. And it seems completely normal. But a woman being meek understands that her sexuality can be manipulative and it can be controlling. And so she makes a choice not to do that. Just like the man who is free to go around and punch people, but says, that's not cool, I'm not going to do that. So this woman being meek decides not to manipulate by doing things, excuse me, like she won't show her cleavage. She won't wear high heels or lipstick or makeup that mimic this sexual readiness and availability, because that is a huge feminine power. And so a woman being meek will be more modest about this, more reserved about this, because she knows that it is manipulative to put other people into that position where, you know, you go out showing your boobs and then you get mad at people for looking at your boobs. Like, what the hell? And so it becomes sort of a game where women a lot of times will pretend that they don't have this power or that they're not using this power. Well, let's be honest. Women either know that they have power over men and willfully use it, or they are delusional and can't see that them dressing in a provocative manner is going to change the behavior of other people. So they're not being meek. They know that when they go out, it does things to the hormones of other people. It changes the way that they think. Just like the man going around and intimidating people with violence, the woman going around and intimidating, or, well, manipulating, I should say, with sexuality is essentially doing the same thing. They are changing the way another person thinks via their hormones and their normal biological reactions. You say, oh, well, control yourself. Okay, well, why not control yourself when the guy is running around punching people? You see, it's not that easy. We are our hormones. We become what our hormones tell us to become. Yes, we have some control over that, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to change the way that we think. So just like the person who is scared of the guy running around punching people, the person who is being manipulated by a woman showing that sexual readiness and availability, they're both being manipulated. And so one method of manipulating is not better than another. It's still manipulating in some way. And so a woman who wants to be meek and play honorably would choose not to abuse her gift, but rather to use it appropriately. And there are absolutely appropriate uses for sexuality. A lot of great uses for sexuality. And that's just the same as a man who uses his power appropriately, which is his strength and really his ability for violence. That can be used very honorably. That can be used in the defense of people and has been used very honorably throughout history. And so I think that we are a little bit unbalanced in Western cultures, and of course unbalanced in the cultures where they force women to completely cover up. I don't think either of those is completely right. Of course, we don't want to see people hurt. We don't want to see people running around punching each other. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is it's more about a change in morality than it is about a change in laws. So changing the morals around that. So a woman says, I do not want to be manipulated, so therefore I am not going to manipulate. And a man saying, I do not want to be manipulated, or forced or have my thinking changed. So I'm not going to do that to other people. And so it's not about making a new law or anything like that. It's about encouraging a culture where people are meek, where people do not use their power so flagrantly. I'm horrible word there, but they don't use their power in that way. What they do is they hold back their power. They understand that they have that power. Me, for an example, I'm not the strongest person out there, but I'm pretty freaking strong. But I don't go around intimidating people with that strength. I don't go around pushing people around. I don't go around forcing people to do things because I wouldn't want that done to me. And essentially, even though it's not physical, a woman going around and displaying all of these signs of sexual availability is, in a way, doing the same thing. They are sort of strong-arming people, and that is men and women alike, because women intimidate other women, but that's a whole nother video that I could make. The point is that it's still a form of intimidation and manipulation. And I think that culturally, we should try to learn to avoid that in all cases, whether it be strength, sexuality, money, intelligence, whatever it is that is our strength. We should be meek about it. Not humble, but meek. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Be sure to hit like and share the video. Have a great day.